What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, club swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling good. Sometimes you got to be careful what you wish for. We were sitting there the last couple days like this market just not moving, and then it moves. It's just not maybe in the right direction. We got to be more specific for what we ask for. But we got AJ in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Albert. Good morning to Anna, Andy, Bill, Corey, Frank. Good morning, Kevin, Lauren, Lucian, Marius. Rick is in the house. Good morning to Rob. We got Tim. Good morning to you. All my people in YouTube land. Levy, good morning to you. We got M. Scott. Good morning to Leonard. Michael's in the house. All my lurkers in the background. Just not going to say nothing all day. It's okay. At least hit the like and subscribe button. We can work together on that one. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We got a pretty significant gap down. It happened brutally quick. We I started to see the rest of the market go down. I was in a Tesla long at that point, and I started seeing it was the bond auction. It was right around 1 o'clock. Bad 20-year bond auction came in, higher yields. That's going to shake the markets up a little bit more. But number one, I kind of expected a little bit of a higher bond auction because we just got downgraded. Like that's going to throw some fear out there. We said this on Monday after the first day back from when we found out Friday we got downgraded again. So we said the bonds are probably the yields are probably gonna go higher, and it was maybe a little bit more than we thought it was gonna go, but the market just wasn't pricing anything in, I guess. And apparently that's what we were waiting for the last couple days. Still continuing with the just constant lower lows. We did hit finally. We got into a little bit of an uptrend yesterday, so we were playing some things bullish after we tried UNH to the short side, and that did nothing for a while. But we got the higher lows. We started to get the higher highs, higher high, higher lows, and then we got the just absolute crumble, fall out of bed right around a news event, which is the bond auction, and that just plummeted, just kept going, kept going, kept going. For today, if we're looking at the SPY, yeah, Enphase is brutal. Yeah, that's another one. The BBB got passed yesterday. Big, beautiful bill. So a lot of these solar names under pressure today as well. So now at this point, and yesterday was technically a gap and well, it was a gap and go from this candle right at the very bottom of it. We just came in for the retest. It's bizarre how like the next day you pull it up and you're like, oh yeah, never mind. All we really did was hop right into that retest of the day before. And then we plummeted. The support should have been 589.14. We broke right through that. We had big support around 588.13, broke through that. We've been talking about this level for a while though, so I'm not sold yet on we fill the gap. I'm not quite there yet. But all we really did was get back into this. We just did it in one candle. So it took us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days to get to the higher portion after this gap up. One day to just come back for the retest. So this is going to be a huge level. 581.54. If we start breaking it down, which I think pre-market we were below it at one point. Yeah, we all got all the way down to looks like just about 580, just slightly under 580 on the daily. So we've been through this one. Watch that for support for today. Watch your resistance on the SPY 584.38. If we start breaking that, then okay, this is for now, just a retest, and we have 587.74. Instead of going directly to the Qs, we're gonna do something a little different because I remember yesterday I was like there was a chart I wanted to show you guys, and I was like we looked at a pre-market before I hopped on. I completely forgot. I remember. Yeah, it was Shopify. So Shopify, if we're not one day ahead on Shopify than the rest of the market, I don't know. We'll see where today's candle on SPY comes in at. But here's your gap up, kind of like we had in the SPY. We had a few days of buy, buy, buy. Okay, all good. We had your little gap down, came back for a retest, although not all the way to the top. And then this is the candle here, which we just put into the SPY. That came in for the retest, and you'd be expecting some kind of hold. According to yesterday on Shopify, we threw in this candle right down here. So maybe that's the candle that we see today in the SPY, which would still keep us inside day, inside this little gap up hammer. It does look pretty weak. I'm not sure if there's anything real positive news-wise out there, but the only thing that says maybe not is until we really break down the support again, so that whatever we said, 580 zone, 581. Until we break that down again, I'd be looking to maybe use that support, see if you get some buying that comes in. This is Shopify, an individual name, not the overall market, but it does look very similar to. It looks like Shopify is almost 1 day ahead of the SPY, and we'll see if we come down, and if that is the case, and we just I would say the low look for today. If we break down somewhere around 577.05, we might come in a little bit higher than that. We'll see. But I'm looking for yep, right around this 581.37 should be some kind of support. Still looks a little weak. I think probably at open. We have had the buy the dippers last couple days. I would assume you get the buy the dippers that come in and then watch that resistance. If they can take that resistance out to the bull side, then again we'll look a little bit higher. We got like 587, 81 to the next kind of retest spot, but at least we're hanging in for right now. That's still a good retest. It is a little bit of a gap and go, though not that impressive of one. And we'll see where we kind of pull out from here. We got the Qs. Levy says Tessie Tessie. We got the Qs is just hanging out a little bit. This one looks a little bit better. Tech, again, with the higher yields, that means there's more. That's going to draw more of a crowd into the bonds because you could easily. I think the 20-year was like 5.08%. So you could lock in money, and technically you don't have to lock it in for 20 years. You could technically sell at any point, but it doesn't guarantee that you're going to make money if the rates keep going higher. Then then you're just really holding to maturity or as long as you can. But otherwise, they're still relatively liquid. Otherwise, you could do that. Avoid any of the maybe the big dip, the fear that comes into this market. Maybe this thing is just a big pullback and what was just one big head fake for the bulls. I think that's very possible. It could be, or we could be looking at all-time highs. We just don't know. But the fact that we have the bond yields higher, that means that you get a safer investment there. Generally, the bonds should be seen as a relatively safe investment, backed by the full credit of the U.S., which has been downgraded. So take that for what it's worth. But you have the Qs at least getting above this support for now, 514.35. Look for the next resistance at 516.48. If we could break through that, 518.14. If we start breaking the Qs down, you got 514.50. Obviously, you're going to probably look for the low of yesterday, maybe the low of this candle here, 509. But really, I have 506.92. So if Qs cannot hold this support today, the Qs actually might be the play for a bigger push to the downside. It looks like it has a lot more room in it to run if that is the case. If we just hang out here, do nothing, then it is what it is. TLT was gapping down again today. So TLT is the one you want to watch. If TLT keeps coming down, that means the yields are going up. That means that it's going to be a relatively safer, less volatile way to make some money while the rest of the market maybe kind of pulls back or goes through what it has to do, and then eventually the buyers come back in, but we don't know yet. Otherwise, this is still showing signs of some weakness. It is a retest gap, but look for some kind of resistance. And TLT bonds, they work a little oddly sometimes, but look for about 83.99, essentially $84 should be some kind of resistance to the way up. If TLT just keeps coming lower and lower, I think our lowest point on this one is about 82.79, and if we start breaking that, it looks even rougher on TLT. There is a shiny spot in the market. Crypto, Bitcoin also maybe a little bit of oddly enough play to safety, or maybe not a play to safety, but maybe potential bigger returns for some people that want some maybe bigger numbers as opposed to the 5.08%. You got Bitcoin is making all-time highs as early as today. So a little bit earlier, it looks like we got up to did we hit the 512 handle? This telling me we got to 111,888, so not quite 112 yet. Obviously, pretty historic run, pretty crazy run from 75 to almost 112. And we were talking about this one yesterday too, where it looked kind of good. So you had a little bit of maybe you shook some of the bulls out of this one, thinking it's going to break down. Nice big green candle. That was getting taken out for a second. Bear trapped some people, shook them out, and then we were hanging in right at that support. We held the support, and then we ended up just taking off from there. So Bitcoin still looks pretty strong. I've got no targets to the higher side. I think Yates was throwing in the 116 and then 124, somewhere around there. So not bad there. Gold is gapping down slightly, so gold not even really that safe in this market, but small move, nothing too crazy. SLV, that one had a great day yesterday, gave it all back today, this morning. Pretty disastrous gap down, still holding at the moment a little support. So let's see if you can hold $30.08. Let's call it $30 flat. But if that starts breaking down, maybe you're seeing a little bit of a bigger pullback into the 29.59. Altogether, silver, gold still holding on pretty decent. Gold obviously has been on a bigger tear. But we'll see how this market wants to play out. We got a couple of tickers that are coming in. First one I see is ENPH. And they're having a gap down. Everything's solar energy. So the big beautiful bill is cutting a lot of the. You had like a pretty much a 30-year tax break on solar panels. That's off the table. No more. No more on that one. So now anything solar getting a little bit crushed because again, the really the unless you're man, you might be the person that just loves the sun and just loves solar energy and like that's your thing. If that's your thing, and this is a sun, not a flower, I don't want people to get confused out there. I want to try to be as factual as possible. But yeah, maybe you're the person that just loves solar panels on your roof and the sun. Otherwise, for the most part, the real reason I think people got them is because they're telling you, look, you could pretty much get these panels for free on top of your house. They'll generate electricity for you. You'll actually even see a surplus of money after a certain point where now you're getting paid to have these things on your roof. But a lot of that is due to two things. One of it is being the government giving you tax breaks because you have it. The big beautiful bill has now cut the that out, so that's going to be tough for. Well, where's your sales pitch? The second thing is they're working with the extremely low rates that we had in the past, where you could now finance these things and the numbers work out where you're making money. Now, with the rates higher, you don't have a selling point there either. So I think the solar energy, anything with the little things on top of your roof, I think that's in trouble a little bit. And until you see a new president, I probably would stay away from anything solar energy at this point. And when I say new president, I would say probably you'd have to lean Democratic, and who knows what the party stance is at that point. We don't know. I mean, that could be 3 years. If you get another Republican after that, then solar energy, I think, is going to be in trouble for a while. But yeah, that took away a lot of the business model for some of these solar panel companies. This one, disastrous gap down, doesn't get bought up. I'm not sure for today. I don't really have any levels lower that I could really say, here's my target, here's my support. But this has been a significant downtrend, so maybe you have just at least some shorts taking some money. You're pretty far extended from some of those moving averages. I think if I had to play it today, and we'll move it higher on the list, if I had to play it today, I think I'd be looking for buy the dip as opposed to, and again, as a day trade, not so much as an investment. But good luck, I guess. If you're playing it, good luck. I'm gonna try my best. If I see a candle, we'll try it, and if I could play it bullish, I think that's the way I'm gonna try to roll on it. We got Hims. Sanjay says hold Nvidia. Get to that one. We got Hims is gapping down. Again, technically a retest gap. However, most of the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days has been inside this. So we have the big beautiful bill. I'll call this the big beautiful candle. So BB, nope, can't use that one. That means something different. We got we got Hims is gapping down, and then yeah, we'll see if there's a little support somewhere around 52.33. And then a bigger support probably right into this 50.46. A little bit element of a retest gap. You don't really get much on the short side here with the support right there. So I'd be looking at maybe like 55.14 as a little bit of resistance. If we could break through that, maybe a better spot to go short on this one is about 57.64. Keep in mind, retailers love this stock. It is dipping. It is cheaper than it was yesterday. You might get some bids, but I wouldn't be going long or attempting to go long. Probably to get me that better price, not even that first candle. Get me to like 50.62, and in an even better spot, probably in a future date, somewhere close to 46.87 would be a nice one to try to scoop that off of. That's about the 50% retracement. So we will see. We'll see how that one plays out. All right, we got Lily LLY. Yeah, no, well, what I'm saying, the letters, you know, I interpreted it in my head real quick, and I was like, okay, no, that one doesn't work. We got Lily is retest gap, but I don't like the spot on it. So look for a little bit of a buy, maybe a high wave candle on Lily. Look for about 716.70. If that starts to break, yeah, if that one starts to break somewhere in like this, anything above 717, I think is probably you get a bigger retest. Otherwise, it does look weak at the open. Targets on this one probably 698 to the downside. Keep in mind when we were here before, we still looked ugly on this one. We were still not in a great place, and then all of a sudden the Bulls just came in, ripped this one up another from 713 all the way to 762. So that's a heck of a run. Other than that, again, you're in that same spot. I don't know if the Bulls are in the same conviction that they had before, or at least trying to buy the dip. But that target to the lower side still looks good to me. And again, the biggest problem with Lily is if we start to lose these levels and where we're sitting now, I forgot in the master group, I took this off yesterday. There we go. I got nothing holding us back until 588. So I think that's your bigger play longer term if none of this is starting to hold. And it is a reason why the Bulls are fiercely defending the zone because they're looking at the same charts that I'm looking at, and they're like, well, if we can't hold here, let's we got a long way to the downside. So that's what I'm looking for on Lily. We'll see if that how that pans out. But there was one more spot that could hold us. I don't think it's a huge one if we get back down there. But out of nowhere last time they did just rip this thing up much higher for no reason. Let's see. Jimmy the Stick says the BTC ETF is a better investment. I started with ARK B, but that only had monthly options. I'm switching over to IBIT. I do like IBIT. Yeah. I think IBIT is a probably a better way to play, unless you could just buy Bitcoin itself. If you could buy Bitcoin, that's good. Otherwise, yeah, IBIT I think would be your play, especially if it's like a retirement account. You don't really have too many options. Let's go into Snow and then let's get to Nvidia. We still got what 11 minutes. Snow is a gap and go in the opposite direction of everything else, and you do have an earnings report. So we did beat by almost 13%. That's a pretty solid earnings per share. They also came in with an extra 35 million, so the gap up is warranted. It is a good report, probably a little bit better than, well, definitely better than expected. You are clearing a whole bunch of volume. You have a little bit more over here up until like the 197.03 zone. Anything after that, I got nothing. I got a few spots that could get kind of held up. Otherwise, I don't have anything else until like 227. So I'm gonna add this to the high alert list for myself. Now the question is, how do we play this one? I don't know that one. I know I do like it bullish. I'm not sure. I don't. I mean, a high wave candle maybe, but it's up a lot. I think if we get a retest into the first spot that I want to see at least a retest into is probably about 191.65. So that would be pulled back about $3. The next level would be 189. You do have retests all the way back to like this 183. If the bulls are really that strong, I don't want to get back into this. I don't want to get back into that zone. So let's check that first one. I'm okay trying it there, 191.65. And then if you get to like 189.15, I think that'd be a good one too. So maybe this thing opens and just runs. It has the ability to do so. That is a lot of volume we are above now, and we have all of that should be support. But it would make sense if we get some kind of a pullback first. Yeah, the 186, 187 zone right on top of all that volume. So I don't want to be the first one really to buy it. Maybe if they give me a setup, I'll take the shot on it, but it could be a little spready too. Check the spreads on it. But yeah, give me a little bit better of a pullback first, and then get me Give me some better risk reward, but that is a nice looking gap up. All right, we'll go to Nvidia. So Sanjay says, "Do I hold it? What am I supposed to do?" Well, the first thing is if you do pull up your Nvidia chart and you have lines like me, you're just going to want to delete all those so you can actually take a look at the stock. So let me go to step one first. Step two is it's a loaded question, so I don't know if you're in it for a swing, if you're just a pyramid, whatever the case. I've had this gray line on my chart for I think I'm on 2 years now. This 137.42. It's so long ago that I forget exactly where it came from. I think it came from a volume zone somewhere. And what did we end up doing yesterday? We ran right into it. We finally got to it, and kaput. We started dying a little bit. I don't know where you got into this one, but that is a heck of a move. It probably does pull back a little bit more. You have your first support, which we didn't quite hit. We almost got to. That's 130.32. Today's a gap and go in the bullish direction. I think Nvidia probably continues to get bought up into. I don't see anything really stopping us from at least getting to 133.80. We'll have to see if that provides or proves to be a good resistance on it. And then if it does, I think your next spot down is 130.32. We almost got there. This is probably a little bit easier to get taken out. And then your move is like back to like 122.90. That would get you back into those moving averages, things like that. If it's in your long term, and you like Nvidia, you like I think Google made some outlandish comments yesterday saying that AI is so undervalued from what people are even thinking. So if that's the case, Nvidia long term is still going to be a really good investment, good hold. I think there's other stocks you could easily move your money into that will lose you money as opposed to Nvidia, which at least should hold some of the basis, especially if you got it at a good price. So I would say it's up to you, but on a trading basis, um, maybe you're holding out until 134 or 130.42 breaks, and then you're going to cut it and try to start maybe pyramided back in if you want to. We don't know. We don't know if even though the whole market right now is just some big retest. Qs did look better than SPY. So if Qs look better than SPY, that should give a little edge to a bullish pop, at least at open on Nvidia. And you can make your decision on that one. You got Tesla. Tesla. My goodness. They are down a little bit. It's a retest gap. The one spot we were looking to hold is somewhere about 133, and we didn't hold that. We were actually looking at a couple spots. We talked about this one multiple times. 342. I've taken a bunch of day trades off that 342 zone, and it worked out pretty well most of the time playing this range. You have now your bull trap. You broke down. You have a bearish engulfing candle. To me, this looks bearish, like we come down a little bit further. Next spot I would be looking for is about 322.42. Even from where we open, that's about $9 to the downside. It is a retest gap. Hopefully, what I'm really hoping for is you get some kind of a balance into the 333 zone. That would be my first spot to say, okay, maybe we'll see how it goes there. Otherwise, Tesla does crazy things. You might see a full-on retest up to like 341.74, somewhere there. If it gets there, that was probably your next opportunity to try to look short. Because I don't really have any volume zones anywhere except for this spot, which we're still hanging out above, which is 333-ish. And we're slightly below it at this point. So high wave candle on this one, I'm going short. Otherwise, I'll be patient, see how much this thing can retest. Today's not the day I want to go bullish on it. And maybe that's the wrong decision. I don't know, but I don't really want to go bullish on it. If it goes bullish, I'll sit on my hands and then see if we can take that to the short side because it does look like it's starting to crumble. If today closes and we've done some unexpected bullish things, I'll change the entire thought process on that one. We'll see. But for right now, it does look like it is on shaky grounds, shaky territory, but so is the rest of the market too. So I don't think it's Tesla specific. And again, I don't know in the big beautiful bill, the BBB, don't get confused, but I don't think that I mean they have the solar company, so that is going to take an effect. I don't know if there was anything in regards to like the tax cuts for or tax breaks for the electric cars. I'd have to look into that one. UNH is gapping down again. We tried this one to the short side yesterday. I think it's at our targets or it was at our targets earlier this morning. So all we had to do is nothing. I don't think we would have got stopped out of this one either. I think it would have missed our stop by a little bit. Um, and we would have just had to hold it overnight. I think there's more room to the downside on this one. 275.97. Let's just call it 276. Not much really holding us up. That was a decent amount of selling last night. You're at the opening candle. My guess is you'll have some kind of bullish pop. I don't know that we get all the way back up to here. If we do, great. Otherwise, I think you get some kind of a bullish pop, and then I think playing it to the downside still into 276. And if you're bullish or you want to try to get in, I think just be patient. I think you should be at some time in a future date. I think it comes back to 276. Really, really good run up though, and whether it's saved or not, who knows? But first spot, just look for like 276, 277. I think there's some much stronger bulls waiting there than where we're sitting now. So not a spot to really go bullish. I think playing that fade still is still a valid option on that one. Nike with a gap and go, NKE. Oh yeah, we looked at crowd. Nike is gapping up. Yeah, they had news that they're selling Nike products now on Amazon. Sorry, Foot Locker. Sorry, Dick's Sporting Goods, because you guys just merged. That was a great deal for you guys about a week ago. Foot Locker just ran, but Nike, who supplies their stuff to Foot Locker, is now just selling it directly on Amazon. And what does Foot Locker do at that point? I don't know. I would say that Foot Locker is worth a lot less than what the offer was. I think at the time, Dick's Sporting Goods probably overpaid for Foot Locker in the first place, and now this I don't think helps. So good news for Nike. I think they'll have more exposure, be able to easily, because there's a lot of people that just don't go to the stores. Buying it off Amazon makes it a heck of a lot easier if somebody's searching for shoes. So longer term, I think that's a good move for Nike. Sorry, Dick's Sporting Goods. Sorry, Foot Locker. I think that's bad for you guys. Otherwise, it is a gap and go, still inside the candle. We still have a lot of pressure from this market. Let's see if this one comes down first. First spot, I want to see if the bulls are trying to hold. Let's see if we can locate some bulls at 59.63. Otherwise, I think a much better spot. A little bit longer term, probably about 58.78. But longer term, I think that is a stronger move for Nike. They got to do something. They're getting competition just absolutely coming in and eating their lunch. So for right now, I think it's a gap and go. Uh, if you're trying it bullish, if there's a setup, I got 61.33 to the higher side. If you start getting above it, it looks a little bit more impressive. And I think you're landing at like 62.05 for today, but it's a gap and go. I don't think I'm really interested in trying to play for today for me. All right. Let's see. Good morning, Palantir for leaps. I don't like leaps on a stock that looks like this. Here. I don't mind leaps on a bigger pullback like this, and I don't mind even on Intel. I have some leaps. So not that I love Intel and I'm a big Intel person, but you're still very, very high up. This is not where I would be looking for leaps. I think longer term puts, buying puts would be a better direction. And even that, you're going against some of the momentum in a lot of these things. But so I'm not recommending puts, but I would much rather at highs like this be looking for puts as opposed to leaps. Give me a bigger sell off, a bigger dip. Give me like a month or two of selling, and then I think it's time for leaps. But valid question. And unfortunately, that is the morning bell. So make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button in YouTube land. And yeah, we'll catch you guys tomorrow. We got one day left and then a nice 3-day weekend.